Are you filing your returns with non-eTIMS receipts and getting constant errors? Check these out. So the first common error you get is you're using an incorrect CSV format. So this usually happens because the system only accepts a specified structure template. So this means that you cannot change the layout of your file. Things like column, headings, or structure must remain exactly as you have downloaded. So the safest way is to download and use the official template as it is, without making any edits to its structure. So the next error is incorrect invoice date format. So this happens when the system is unable to correctly read the date you have entered for your invoice. So the required format is date/month/year. So for example, you can say 14th/04/2026. But this issue is not always about the typing. So sometimes maybe you have typed the correct format, but in other cases, the error may be caused by your device region or settings, because your system determines how dates are interpreted in the background. So to avoid this, set your device language into English UK so the system consistently reads the date in the correct format. You can always Google or you can always ask for assistance somewhere else so that you can set, it's very easy, set your computer into UK English so it will be able to pick up the date consistently with the CSV format file. The next error is invalid supplier PIN. This happens when the supplier PIN entered is either incorrect, inactive, or not recognized by the system. So in some cases, the supplier name may also not match the registered KRA PIN, and the mismatch can also trigger this error. So it's important to always ensure that the supplier details you are using are exactly as registered. So now, for non-eTIMS expenses that do not have a supplier PIN, how do you do about them? So you should include them and they should be captured under the manual non-eTIMS receipts row I explained in the previous video in your return template. So wherever there is that allowance, you include all the total amount of expenses, non-eTIMS expenses, those with supplier PIN, those without supplier PIN, all of them together. But now you have to attach supporting documents as proof of the expenses when uploading. So the expenses of those people without supplier PIN, you have to upload them also together with the rest in the other process as I showed earlier. So if you have not watched that video, maybe you can check it out so that you can know how to go about every part of the filing process. Next error you can get is invalid amount. So remember, all these you're talking about the CSV file that you're uploading are for the non-eTIMS expenses. So when it says invalid amount, this usually happens when the format column is maybe left blank or contains invalid characters. So always ensure that the amount field is properly filled using numbers only. Then another error you can get is incomplete entry error. So in this case, it happens when you add an extra row at the bottom. Example, you can add an extra total row, maybe after putting up your expenses and the amounts you want to put total here down. So the system expects only actual transaction rows, so do not include any totals. So leave that out completely so that you don't get this error of incomplete entry, because it will want you to fill every cell or every row or every column of that CSV file. The next error you can get is when uploading your documents. So you get an error. Sometimes the file is too large. So that's why you get the error, because it is above 10 MB. The required or allowed size of the file of all your receipts should be 10 MB and less. So in that case, you need to compress or convert it before uploading. You may also get unsupported format errors because they are formats that the system or the system wants. So use a compatible format like a PDF. PDF is always compatible in every system, and it is easier to compress and manage. So just make sure your receipts are clearly scanned before uploading. So in most cases, these errors are just system validation checks, not necessarily mistakes in your data. So once you understand what each error means, filing becomes much smoother and faster. So if you have encountered any other error while filing your returns, you can drop it in the comment section and I will help you figure it out. I hope this video helped you. I break down tax issues in a simple way so you don't waste time guessing or getting stuck. So if you want more clear explanations like this, you can subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next one. Thanks for watching.